All right, guys. So I just got back from watching Spencer, starring Kristen Stewart as Diana, Princess of Wales. Guys, this is gonna be just me just talking. I'm just gonna just talk, man. This movie's sad. This movie's sad, man. I was just gonna open with that. This movie's great, and it's beautifully sad. And Kristen Stewart does a really good job at playing Diana, Princess Diana. She really embodies her. Like, one of the reasons that I've been like super excited about this film was I wanted to see her portrayal of that, because we all know Kristen Stewart from like Twilight and some of her other, like, you know, quote unquote mediocre roles where she doesn't get necessarily a lot of praise for them. She's been made fun of a lot throughout the years. She's been memed a lot, especially like this. I can't tell you how many like Twilight clips I've seen just from her being memed, her and Robert Pattinson alike. So I was very much looking forward to this one, because this is a serious role. You're playing Princess Diana, who is one of the most revered members of the royal family. I mean, everyone loved her. Everyone loved her. At least in the public eye, everyone loved her. Like, whenever you talk about the royal family, people bring up Princess Diana. I mean, I'll give you guys like a thing. So for me, I'm from Grenada. So in Grenada is part of the British Commonwealth. And back then, around that time, maybe a little bit before, there's a lot more people that took a lot of, I guess, favoritism towards the royal family. And like my grandfather, for example, he's like super into the royal family. It's not like that now. Like not many people are really into it now. But around this time, like people like my grandfather and like a lot of other people around that age, in that time in the Caribbean and other Caribbean countries that were once sovereign nations, all looked up to Princess Diana. So yeah, she was really loved by a lot of people. So going into this, and obviously, you know, you look at her story and you see what happened, you read what happened. For those who are a little bit older, who lived through it and you know, seen the TV, seen the news and read the newspapers and everything, it was really sad what happened. It's a tragedy. So, you know, going into a movie like this, you're gonna expect it not to be. It's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be like super like. It's sad, because her tale is one of inspiration, but yet tragedy at the same time. Because when she got in, and just to say this too, I'm a huge fan of The Crown, and I watched all the seasons, and I've loved that portrayal of Diana as well as younger Diana. And I think Kristen Stewart does a really good job at playing an older Diana, and you really just like, you can really just see how much work she put into it. But anyways, the point I was trying to get to is, you look at her story overall coming into the royal family, someone who wasn't necessarily the first choice, someone who even, you know, Prince Charles himself didn't necessarily want her. Like, she wasn't anyone's really like their first choice initially, and she really changed the way that the royal family was, you know, their perception and the way they were received. Like, people on the outside went from hating the royal family to somewhat liking them a little bit, or maybe liking Diana more, and you know, her just being the kind of person that she is. And that, at first, a lot of young people, a lot of young kids, just looking at documentaries and reading up on everything, they really looked up to her. Like, they looked up to her, and that was inspirational for them. And she's like, oh, she's different than the royal family. She's loving, she's caring, she's outgoing, she speaks to everybody, she does this stuff. But behind the curtain and behind the scenes, she's going through a lot. She's going through an eating disorder. She's going through a lot of mental instability, a lot of emotional instability as well. So she was dealing with a whole bunch of different things behind the scenes. And it was really tragic just to see all of that. And I feel like one of the things this movie does really well is showcase that. Like, it's everything to the score, from the way it was shot to the score. I talk about scores a lot because they're super important to a movie. The score for this movie was really unsettling, and in a good way. It wasn't anything over the top, for a purpose, and you can see that. Everything was they had like some really interesting choices. Like, there was a lot of jazz undertones, somber jazz music that was being playing underneath, and then there was also some really interesting stuff going on with the drums and the percussion section that really rattled up certain scenes. That I wouldn't really spoil it, because there was one scene that I will always remember, and I think it's the scene that stood out to me the most in the film. And for those of you who watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. There was one scene, I'll just say this, at a dinner table, you know what I'm talking about. And dude, the music and the scene, the intensity, like my heart was racing. My like I felt like I was like my anxiety was going crazy. Like it was well shot. Like they did some stuff with the cameras. They got really close and it got really personal, and the music was just so unsettling, and it just kept on getting wild and wild and wild. And it gave you a musical or a more artistic representation of what was going on in her head from a musical standpoint as well, but not only from a musical standpoint, but from a film standpoint as well, from the way how they captured that on screen. So just with her face, I mean, Kristen Stewart really killed it. Like she was doing a great job. Just she really surprised me, guys. Like it's really surprised me. This is definitely a breakout role for her, and I'm happy that she was able to come into this and do this and show people that yes, I can be a serious actress, and I can do this thing just like anybody else. And yeah, man, it was brilliant in that sense. But overall, the tone and the story was sad, and it was depressing, and just how I felt. Like I left the theater feeling like, damn, like dang, like I'm like this movie was good, but like dang. So, and again, as I prefaced in the beginning, you're not going to go into a story like this knowing everything that you know about Princess Diana and how her life was behind the scene, and expect to walk away from that with a very happy experience. You can't. But you can really just see how much she loved her kids in this, and then the internal trauma she was going with, and what she just really wanted to be. The Crown did a pretty good job with that in season 4 of the Crown. They did a pretty good job showcasing that change and that transition from, oh, I'm going to be a princess, I'm super happy to slowly just regretting that choice, and slowly just becoming more and more distasteful of the situation, and really just hating it, and hating yourself, and hating the situation that you're in, and dealing with the fact that you know that your husband doesn't really love you, and you love him, and it's not really coming back that way, and all of that was being shown, because you hear all the rumors. I mean, putting the Crown aside and everything, you hear things, you read things. Their relationship has been the talk for so long, and you hear the staff say certain things, you hear different people talk, rumors spreading around of them cheating on each other, and being with different people, and not necessarily showing that love for each other. So you hear all of that, and then you see this in this movie as well, just it being referenced, and the discomfort of their connection. It's really, really, really just, it's like uncomfortable in you know, in a good way, in terms of like, it makes you uncomfortable, and it makes you realize how great the actors are, and especially Kristen Stewart. This movie was it's called Spencer, so it's just about her. It's about her doing her thing. So yeah, man, that's all I got to say about it. Just my thoughts on Spencer. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. It's one of those things where, like, if you know the story, certain things you'll kind of pick up on it. I did notice that, like, it might have just been the theater that I was in, because I didn't get to watch it like on an IMAX screen, or it was like one of those smaller theaters, one of those smaller like auditoriums that don't necessarily have like the best speakers or the best screen or anything like that. So some of the dialogue I was just losing. It felt like she was just whispering a lot. But then again, that goes to testament to show of how Diana was rumored to be when she was around people. She's very soft spoken individual. Anyways, very shy, very like all curled up, and like, you know, like even if you watch her interviews like from earlier on, you'll see how soft spoken she was. So I guess that's maybe what they were going for. But she was very soft spoken, very like just kind of like quiet, and like shoulders always shrugged up, and like always like moving around like this. So Kristen Stewart really did that very, very well. So all her mannerisms and just like certain like head twitches and movements, you can see that. You can just really feel and see that she represented, I think, in my opinion, Princess Diana very, very well. So from an enjoyment standpoint, did I enjoy the movie? Yes. Would I watch it again? Maybe, maybe not, just because of how sad it was. Maybe to dissect her performance again, I can watch it again. But as for like to throw on a movie in the background to enjoy, not necessarily. So for that, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. But as a film and as a piece of creative art and cinema, I'm literally going to give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. It was that good in terms of creating a story and really making you feel, the audience feel uncomfortable and getting you inside of Diana's head and really getting to see what was going on up there and feeling that and see what she was struggling with on a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint, emotional standpoint, etc. So yeah, so those are my 2 ratings for it from an enjoyment standpoint. Maybe just like a 8, like a 7.5 out of 8, just for, I don't know if I'll just rewatch it like that, but just definitely as a film, just that from A to B was definitely a great movie. So should you watch it? That's up to you. Depends on what you're into. If you're into things like that, you're into the royal family, you're into the whole situation with Diana, you may enjoy this performance. If you just love movies and you like seeing great performances, I would recommend going to watch this. But if you're trying to watch this because you're trying to figure out what to watch this weekend and you don't really know what's going on and you're just trying to have a good time, I wouldn't recommend this movie to go to. It's not a movie where the pacing is just like, oh man, this is a great movie to watch on the weekend. So this is definitely for diehard fans, I would say, and for people who are really dedicated to at least understanding a good story and really sitting down there through that, because it's a sit. It's a sit. It's definitely a sit. It's not a lot going on in terms of like crazy moments. It's more of a observational type of movie. So anyways, that's it. That's my thoughts on the movie. If you see the movie, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Clockmaster out.